Wow, there is some serious controversy around depression, feeling depressed, and going through that whole perimenopausal, menopausal transition. I find it really strange that I've read articles that both deny it, and yet many thousands and thousands of women say it's their lived experience. So we are going to break down in this video depression, feeling just depressed, but not necessarily major depressive disorder. We're going to talk about SSRIs and hormone replacement therapy and how that ties in together. So if you've been feeling depressed or anxious, if you've been diagnosed with major depressive disorder, if you're on an SSRI, or you have been discussing hormone replacement therapy for your mood changes, this is the video for you. Hi, my name is Dr. Carrie Jones. I am a women's health and hormone expert. You're going to want to hit that subscribe button because I know hormones can feel like herding cats, and I am here to help. Okay, first and foremost, let's dig into some numbers because I think this is really important. There are naysayers who feel that as women get into the over 40, over 50 perimenopause, menopausal transition, there isn't an increased risk for mood changes such as depression or anxiety. Yet I'm going to give you some statistics, some pretty common research articles I see over and over and over again. And I hear anecdotally from women, both in practice and all over social media. There's a group, Andrea Donsky of wearemorphous.com, and she ran a study of 3,082 women. In there, she talked about signs and symptoms and had women rank their top signs and symptoms. So 3,082 women, the number 5 symptom was anxiety. 60% of women reported they had anxiety. The number 20 symptom was depression. 44% of women, 44% of 3,082 women said they experienced depression or more depressed feelings. There's another study. In July of 2024, in the Journal of Affective Disorders, the researchers looked at 9,141 women, and they found that women in the perimenopause transition had a significant increased risk for depression. The change in hormones changes our brain neurotransmitters, and that can come out the other end as mood changes, depression, whether it's diagnosed as major depressive disorder or not. You may just not be feeling like yourself. You may be feeling down in the dumps. You may be feeling more anxious. You may be feeling not as connected, and you're struggling. There have been a lot of articles out too around why are we jumping right to SSRIs, selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors, the antidepressant medication, when maybe we should be looking at hormones. Here's why. When your hormones go haywire or they go down, that affects our brain hormones. Estrogen in particular, estradiol, is a big signaler for your body to make serotonin, which is what the SSRI is trying to keep around longer. If you didn't know, let's say you're on an SSRI, you're on an antidepressant medication. A selective serotonin reuptake inhibitor is a reuptake inhibitor. That means serotonin's out there floating around doing its thing, and when it's going to get reuptake to get broken down, it gets inhibited, so it floats around and hangs out longer. Now, you may be on an SSRI, an antidepressant medication, and be loving life. Like it saved your life, and I am all for that. Or you may be listening thinking, you know what? I didn't like my medication, or I feel like maybe I need more medication, or this isn't really working like it used to, or I would just like to avoid that altogether. What's going on? Well, an SSRI takes the serotonin you do have and stops it from taken up and destroyed. So you have to have serotonin in the first place. And as I said, estradiol is a big trigger for your body to make serotonin. So as your estradiol is dipping down, in perimenopause, it kind of rides a roller coaster, but when it dips down, a lot of women feel blah. They feel more depressed. They feel sort of like yuck, right? They have this mood. And if you already have major depressive disorder, that can layer on top of it and make you maybe feel even worse. Estradiol also plays a big role in dopamine, depending where it is in your part of the brain. That plays a lot with anticipatory motivation. And it plays a role in oxytocin. Oxytocin is your love hormone, your bonding hormone, your feeling good in the community hormone. So if you've been feeling like more depressed, down in the dumps, blue, not feeling very connected, not feeling very motivated, not wanting to talk to people, not wanting to be around your people, and this is new for you, your hormones could be playing a huge role here. Now let's talk about progesterone. Progesterone, when it breaks down in the body, it goes up to the brain and helps activate GABA. GABA is your brake system. Brake is in like a car, gas and brake. It's the calming, the inhibiting, the slow down type of part of your brain. So you don't feel like stressed out all the time or your gas pedal isn't always pushed down. As we get older and we lose our progesterone, we lose this brake system. We lose the ability to really go after GABA like we used to when we were younger. And so that can lead to more anxiety, more irritation, more anger, less patience. So when you layer on changes of estradiol on top of changes with progesterone, this is why so many percentage of women say, yes, I'm feeling more anxious, I'm feeling more irritable, I'm feeling more depressed. And if you already have been diagnosed with generalized anxiety disorder or major depressive disorder, this can compound it and make it worse. So if this sounds like you or feels like you, where you're like, gosh, my medication used to work and I don't feel like it's working now, and you're over 40, and you're going through perimenopause, first of all, you're not alone. The numbers I gave on depression were 44% and 60% experienced anxiety. So you're not alone. But if you've never experienced depression before, you've never had anxiety before, and you're thinking, what is going on with me? This isn't normal for me. This isn't my usual. It's the changes in hormones impacting the changes in your brain. So I wanted to bring this up because a lot of women get offered an SSRI, an antidepressant medication, as a first line therapy when they're in this age. So I want to explain to you what happens in the brain, what's happening with these hormones, so you can say to your doctor, maybe you need an SSRI, maybe that is going to be your saving grace. I'm all for it if it is. However, maybe you're thinking, you know what? I feel more hormonal than I feel that I need this SSRI. Maybe I'm going to ask for hormones instead. Is it possible I need more progesterone? Is it possible I need more estrogen or both in a lot of cases? So understanding how the brain hormones work, how it works with your actual hormones out of your ovaries, and what's happening as you get over the age of 40, you can piece all these puzzles together. Now, what happens if you do go on the SSRI? Will that help other symptoms of perimenopause? In some cases, depending on what the medication is, which form they choose, it might. There is some research to show that SSRIs may also help hot flashes also. Now, the problem though is SSRIs aren't helping with big things. Like it's not helping like bone, for example. We use our hormones and like our hormones to help us keep our bone health really strong. And an SSRI is not going to do that. It's not going to help if you're having vaginal dryness, as an example. So it's not going to help necessarily for brain fog. Research has shown that improving estrogen levels for a lot of women, at least anecdotally, felt like their brain just came back on again and they could remember and they were faster and quicker and they weren't forgetting things like they were. The SSRIs are not going to help the musculoskeletal syndrome that can happen in perimenopause as women move into postmenopause. This is the achy muscles, the achy joints, the frozen shoulder, anything, like fibromyalgia type symptoms where you're questioning, is this what I have? Estrogen plays a huge role here, and the SSRIs aren't replacing estrogen, so it's likely it's not going to help it if that's the cause. So I want to just give you this well-rounded of like, yep, it may be the right fit for you in major depressive disorder. Yep, an antidepressant maybe helped you at one point in your life, saved your life even. I am all for that. But if you're listening to this and you're over 40 and you're thinking, it's not working anymore, or that's not what I want, I don't want that medication, I think it's hormonal, you're probably correct. You're probably correct. It's the estrogen progesterone changes. And maybe talk with your doctor about starting with that first. Last question, can you do both at the same time? Can you do an SSRI and can you do progesterone and estrogen hormone therapy? And the answer is yes. As long as you're a candidate for everything, you've talked with your healthcare practitioner about your history and everything that's going on, your risks, the pros and cons, etc., you can. There isn't an outright contraindication of using an antidepressant with progesterone and estrogen. And in fact, a lot of women who came into their 40s and 50s on an antidepressant also added in hormone therapy in some sort to just make it better, just like really, really help. So hopefully this helped clear up some myths, clear up some weird articles, quite honestly, that are out there as it relates to women and depression and anxiety, and that our hormones play a huge role in our mood. So whether you have been diagnosed with generalized anxiety disorder or major depressive disorder or not, you're just feeling kind of more anxious, more depressed, less connected, like know your hormones play a massive role here, and you're going through so many changes in perimenopause. So you're not crazy. Hormones play a role. Talk to your healthcare practitioner about if hormone therapy is for you and can really, really help with your mood. Because if you're in that 44% or that 60%, I don't want you to be there. I want you to be thriving as you go through perimenopause into postmenopause. So again, hit that subscribe button. Leave any questions below. I know hormones can feel like herding cats, and I'm here to help.